evening, welcome to the, whatever day today, the May 12th Middleborough Board of Selectmen's meeting. We are being taped by Middleborough Access Cable, Community Cable Access, the local cable channel. I gotta get that down.
I skipped it, because it was easier to skip it, nobody noticed.
And we're being broadcast on Verizon and Comcast. Does any board member have anything unanticipated? No, nothing? I don't have an iPad that works. How's that for unanticipated?
You want mine?
Is it on?
I don't know. It may not be on.
Here, why don't you take mine, Mr. Chairman?
How do you turn it off?
Mr. Chairman, give that to me, I'll take care of it. The elderly guy will get the computer working. You can use mine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. McKinnon. There we go.
The elderly is taking care of the young kids.
I should have had my 2-year-old come in and turn it on for me.
You just did.
All right. Announcements and recognitions. Any member of the board have anything under
Yes, I have
announcements and
one.
recognitions? Mr. Knowlton.
I have one, Mr. Chair. I wanted to thank the Park Department for putting on, again, just a fantastic Middleborough canoe race. It was last Saturday. There was a good crowd. The weather agreed. It was a little rainy in the morning, but by the time the race started, it was sunny. It was a great day. I want to, everyone who participated, their entrance fee went to the programs that the Park Department does, so it was a really great cause. There was hot dogs and hamburgers for all. There was a little duck race at the end. Everybody involved seemed to just have a really great time. It was a lot of fun. I want to give a particular shout out to my son who joined me in the generational category for the race. And we did end up coming away in first place for generational. And I thank him. He was the motor.
I think he's about a foot taller this year than he was last year.
It seems like every time I turn around he is, yeah.
So, yeah, I was at the race as well. Had a great time. It really was. It was a fantastic day, fantastic event. A big shout out to the Middleborough Fire Department because my nephew tipped over 6 times. So he owes at least 6 different firemen a big thank you. And next time, you don't have to save him. Just so. But yeah, it really was. It was a great time. The Parks Department did a great job. Congratulations to John and Jack coming in first for the generational. I came in second in the individual. They eliminated the canoe division, so I had to race kayaks, which was a little bit more difficult. But I also like to say thank you to Selectman Aaron Burke and Jared Hollenbeck from Lakeville, who were in the race as well. So it was, I think it's just a great way to start the summer season. I think the Parks Department does a great job, and I say this every year. The river it's such a nice trip down that river, it seems a shame to be paddling fast. The water was high, so we didn't have to paddle too fast, but it was a great time. And I think everybody had a great time there too. So, Ms. Stewart, do you have anything?
I do. I have 2 actually. They're also on Saturday morning, the Samuel Fuller School put on a 5K. That was my first 5K that I participated in, so it was a lot of fun, and it was all through Pratt Farm, which is a great location. And also, the Special Olympics had their Olympics on Saturday morning at the Brockton High School, and I just wanted to recognize the Olympians from Middleborough that were there. Terry Gordon, Adam Montross, Maddie Brogain, Justin Wyatt, Jonathan Gibson, Amir Christmas, Evan Edelman, Bonnie Maxwell, and my baby brother, Ricky Stewart. So they all did a really great job, and I just wanted to recognize them as well.
Beautiful. Sounds like a great time. Mr. McKinnon, do you have anything?
Nope, nothing.
Anything from the audience?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Brian Giovanni, representing the Middleborough Republican Town Committee. I want to invite the community this Sunday, May 18th. It's the Say Yay in May straw poll for the 9th Congressional District. There are 4 candidates that are running in the Republican Party for the 9th Congressional District to represent most of Plymouth County and all of the Cape. So there's going to be a straw poll held right here in Middleborough this Sunday. The public is invited, 1 o'clock, right upstairs in the grand ballroom. You're going to hear from the 4 candidates. They're all confirmed that they're supposed to be there. So come on down to the Middleborough Historic Town Hall upstairs for the 9th Congressional District straw poll this Sunday, May 18th at 1 o'clock. And it's open to the public. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I just had one more. Also on Saturday, there was a Massasoit State Park cleanup that I hear went really, really well. I know we were involved with something else, but Chuck Kowalker, who's going to be appointed as our new conservation commission, on the Conservation Commission, he led that group, and they had a really good turnout and got a lot of work done there. And we are getting closer and closer to getting that park operational, and hoping that the state is going to be able to start putting some more work and effort and funds into it.
Beautiful. Sounds like a pretty good weekend in Middleborough,
It
doesn't
was.
Next weekend's shaping up to be a pretty good weekend, too. A whole bunch of stuff going on next weekend as well. I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes from April 28th,
So moved.
Second.
executive session meeting minutes. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I would entertain a motion to authorize the chairman or his designee to sign warrants for the week ending May 10th,
So moved.
2014.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. I'd entertain a motion to approve the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry Charity Race Walk fundraiser for September 28th, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I'd entertain a motion to sign a vote to authorize the chairman to sign the memorandum of understanding with the Police Superior Officers Union regarding opting out of the health plan.
This is the same motion that we've made for several other of the unions in town.
It's
correct?
the exact same thing with all the other
Okay.
unions.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. I'd entertain a motion to take a vote to ratify the town manager's appointment of Charles Kowalker as a member to the Conservation Commission for a term of 3 years.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions?
That's a really good choice. That's going to work, and he's going to work out very well. He's been instrumental in doing a lot of work down at the state forest, and I'm sure he'll be able to use his talents right here in the borough.
He's no slouch.
No, sir.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Chuck. We look forward to working with you. I'd entertain a motion to approve the indirect cost for the school department in the amount of $8.234, I'll just say, $8,234,153.
Motion to approve. That's the number we needed from the previous discussion we had about 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were doing the indirect cost discussions. We had the wrong number at that time.
Right.
Yep. Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. I would entertain a motion to approve a request by Hannah Cobb for the use of town roads, but it's not really town roads, is it?
Well, I think it's changed. I just don't know if anybody came in to talk about it. If they didn't, then I think I'm just gonna pass over it because they've changed it to a school activity.
All right, so we're gonna pass over this.
They
Because the
no
fun
longer
runs
need the
actually-
board's permission. They
Right.
changed the location as of this morning, unless they showed up tonight.
All right.
I take it nobody's here from the Hannah Cobb event? Okay.
When is it?
May 31st.
Well, May 31st is going to be a fun run on the school grounds of the John T. Nichols Middle School. And it's going to start at 11 a.m. and should end around 12:30.
Maybe.
Maybe.
They're working it out, yeah.
All right.
It sounds like it may happen.
There may be a fun run coming up in an undetermined location.
By an undetermined group,
In some time in the future.
so,
Do we want to approve that?
no, I don't think so.
When they figure it out, if they tell us, we'll be more than happy to talk about it, because we'll talk about anything, apparently. All right. Oh, this went south quick, didn't it?
Whoa, right off the edge.
All right. I would entertain a motion to appoint John and Soban Joyce as members to the Agricultural Commission for a term of 3 years.
So moved.
Second? Are they here?
Is John or Joyce here? John or Saban here? I'm not saying that right either. No? All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. That's a great idea to open the window.
Wait a minute. Steve. You want to use this?
Oh, don't worry about me, I'll listen. I can multitask.
All right. I would entertain a motion to sign the warrant for June 14th, 2014 for the special town election as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Hi, Allison. How are you today?
Good. I just wanted to announce also that the absentee ballots are now available at the town clerk's office today for the special town election. So anyone can come by if they want an absentee ballot vote. If they're unavailable on June 14th between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., they're welcome to come in and absentee ballot vote within our town clerk's office at 20 Center Street.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. Does anyone have any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. Hey, we're right on time.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Knowlton?
I know we got the names of the children who did the artwork from last week, but can we recognize them? I know it's not on the agenda.
Sure.
It should have probably happened at unanticipated. I apologize.
I think we can go back to unanticipated.
But I don't have their names here.
I do.
That would
I have
make
them.
it different.
It was
Selectman Stewart?
Alexa Cushing from Middleborough High School, grade 12, was the winner of the cover design, and the back cover winner was Elia Velez at Nichols Middle School, grade 7.
Beautiful. Congratulations and thank you. All right. Well, we're still on time.
Mr. Chairman, you want to do Atlantic Design?
Did I miss that? Yes, I did. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the payment of the Atlantic Design Engineer invoice in the amount of $2,145.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? This is going for the, an invoice for the wastewater treatment facility, just so everybody knows, and it's proceeding along the way it's supposed to, on schedule. All right, a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right.
Is that Atlantic Design?
Yes.
That invoice is actually for the review of the WRPD for Cumberland.
Oh, all right,
Different company. And then they pay us.
all right.
They pay for the expense, but the town pays.
Okay. I can't open up hearings, meetings, and licenses on my iPad. Does yours work?
No.
Mine's the one.
You got yours?
It doesn't work.
It says no internet connection.
You're bringing all of them, huh?
Apparently.
Hello?
Should I go reload them, or I can give you my paper?
I'll take a paper copy. Is this yours?
Might want to remind the IT department that we're still reviewing budgets.
Yeah. I wonder if that's why the Parks Department was so nice to Mr. Knowlton and I on Saturday.
Could be, yeah. There may be a correlation.
All right. We're going to review the annual town meeting articles 23, 24, 28, and 29. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to amend the existing zoning map by deleting the existing zoning map in its entirety and replacing it with a new zoning map amended through the town meeting action of May 27, 2014, on file with the town clerk, which new zoning map causes the following substantive changes. 1, we remove the designated potential well site off the Tinkham Lane, Taunton Street, located on the assessors map 56, lot 1699/1515, and its 1,000-foot radius interim wellhead protection area. 2, remove the 1,000 radius interim wellhead protection area around the Mazaris well off Plymouth Street in North Middleborough and replace it with Water Resource Protection District Z1, Z2, and Z3 zones as shown. Add the Cross Street 2 well and its Water Resource Protection District Z1, Z2, and Z3 zones as shown, or any act thereon. Now, does anyone have any idea how we should explain this to the public?
No. I think Charlie has mentioned that this is just to clarify the zoning around the movement of the well, remove the wellheads.
Yep.
So I think it's just to clarify the zoning issue right around those wellheads.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Brian Giovanoni, and I know a little bit about, I'm from Rocky Meadow. What has happened is they've given up a couple of well locations that aren't going to be used anymore, so they're removing some off, yet they have identified others, so they've added those into the zoning map, and that's what this is going to do. It's going to take away zoning from an area that was protected because it was a potential site, and then adding the one that, I think, over just north of 44, there's a piece over there that they're looking at, so that's what this part is doing.
All right. Ruth, do you want to talk a little bit about Article 23 for us?
Are we ahead of schedule? Great.
We're on time. We're right on time.
Okay. I do have a copy of the new zoning map. Hopefully this mic's working. As Brian was just saying, up at the Mazaris well in North Middleborough, and this is an article that the Board of Selectmen requested. We are bringing the Mazaris well online, so it used to have a half-mile interim wellhead protection area. Now that's been delineated as Zone 2 and Zone 3. You are adding a Cross Street 2 well, which was newly purchased. So in addition to the existing Cross Street well, there is a second Zone 2, and it's Zone 3, but it's not a whole lot different than what was here before for Cross Street. And you had a well on the west side of 495 down by Tinkham Lane that was a possible well site. And it's my understanding that that is no longer going to be a well site, so this map removes it. There's no interim wellhead protection area there.
Okay.
And we've recreated the map through the GIS with applied geographics, and it's good to go.
All right. Does anyone have any questions?
Nope.
No? All right.
Motion to support.
Yeah, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to support Article 23.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, Article 24.
Mr. Chairman, one last note on the zoning map. The planning board will be holding a public hearing for that on next Tuesday, the 20th. I believe it's 8 o'clock.
In this room?
Yes.
All right. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaw as follows. Amend section 8.2.93, Water Resource Protection District Z4, special permit uses by adding new subsection A, enlargement or alteration of existing uses and structures that do not conform to the Water Resource Protection District are prohibited, but may be allowed by special permit, provided the enlargement of the or alteration does not increase the existing nonconformity or create new nonconformity with the exception of single and two-family uses and structures. Enlargement of existing structures shall not be permitted by special permit if a variance from Title V of the State Sanitary Code is necessary. And designating the existing subsections, formerly A through J, as B through K, or any act, or act anything thereon.
Mr. Chairman, this is a housekeeping article. Z4 is the least protected zone. It's all the other areas in town that it's not related to one of our well fields. And this was left off of the zoning bylaw, and I don't know if it's just this time or it was off of it before, but for existing non-conforming uses, this clause is in Z2 and in Z3, and it wasn't in Z4. So the housekeeping, it just adds it where it should be, because if it's going to be allowed in any zone for existing non-conforming structures, it should be in at least Zone 4.
Okay. Any member of the board have any questions? Anyone in the audience have any questions? Mr. McKinney?
Doesn't this prohibit anything? Any alterations?
No. With a special permit, you can do an enlargement or alteration as long as you don't increase the existing nonconformity or create a new nonconformity. So you can't be creating a new nonconformity under the WRPD, but if you can increase it, you can enlarge or alter it.
How do you enlarge something without increasing the nonconformity?
If it's a gas station, for instance, you may not be at 25% impervious, so that if you're not allowed in that district, you could enlarge what you have if you're pre-existing non-conforming. So if you don't conform to the Z4, it's something prohibited, you can expand what you have as long as you're not making it more non-conforming. Let's say too much impervious area or doing something the bylaw doesn't otherwise allow.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
You don't have one yet.
I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second? No, I can't second. Sorry. One of those days.
Did John second it? Did you second that?
Sure, I'll second.
You don't have to.
I have a motion. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Passes.
Okay. 3-1.
All right.
Sorry, it doesn't work. Maybe it's okay, but it just doesn't sink in, so sorry.
Article 28, the Wetlands Administration Bylaw.
Good evening.
Good evening, Trish. How are you?
Good, how are you? I'm Tricia Cassidy, the conservation agent for the town. I will not be speaking on this tonight, only because through emails this afternoon, the commission would feel more comfortable if we were put off a week till next Monday. Steve Ventresca, who's one of our vice chairmen, he's been speaking on this article, and we've had it on our agenda for months, and I would like him to have the opportunity to speak on it next
Okay.
week, if that's okay.
Does anyone have any objections to putting this off for a week?
Mr. Chair, last year when this came up, again, we were put off until the very last minute before town meeting, before we got a chance to review this. So I am a little concerned.
I think we've had a chance to review it, and I believe that town council has reviewed it, and the commission has responded to all of Attorney Murray's concerns.
Mhm.
I don't think that there's an issue putting it off an extra week.
I don't like the pattern that seems to be emerging here, that this is brought forward and then pushed off and not discussed until the very last minute.
Actually, I think last year it was discussed and then brought up again when we reviewed all the articles, and then we changed our mind
Mhm.
as a board at the last minute. So I certainly don't have any problem having a discussion when someone from the commission is here to discuss it. I'd be much more hesitant to have a discussion without someone from the commission here.
I would agree. I'd like someone here to make the case of, why we should be looking at this. But again, I'm just concerned that it seems to be pushed off to the very end.
I would maybe suggest if any of you have questions, that you could put them in writing in an email, and I can forward them to the commission in the interim.
Well, I addressed it, I went to the conservation hearing, addressed what my concerns are on this, and they were the same as they were in reflection of last year, in reflecting on our vote to reconsider. My angst about this is the same, and I'm glad Trish is not the one presenting this, because this isn't her burden to present. This is the board's burden, not hers. And I just find that this is to be a little too intrusive for my own liking.
Would you
But
like to have this discussion next week, though?
I think we would like to have this discussion next week.
All right.
But I do agree with John that it should have been in the flow, but another week won't make really much difference, because I think the same angst is there from last year that will be there this year. So. But yes, I would say, why don't we put this off till next week, when we can really discuss it?
Okay, Trish,
All right, great.
please let the commission know that we expect to see them
Next
and have a
Monday.
discussion here next week with them.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get to Article.
I know it takes a while because of this
That's a lot.
documentation here. No, it's all right, look at the magic box, it's supposed to work right.
You guys have it?
Yes,
Article
I do.
29. John, you good?
I'm there.
Article 29, to see if the town will vote pursuant to paragraph 3 of the Town of Middleborough wastewater policy and plan of sewer service area as adopted by the Middleborough Board of Selectmen, acting as the Water and Sewer Commissioners by vote on March 8, 2004, to approve an extension of the sewer service area and/or connection of a private sewer located outside of the sewer area, service area, as requested by Cumberland Farms Incorporated, which said connection is not considered a public health emergency by the Board of Selectmen. The land to be included in and serviced by the extended sewer service area is that land shown on the Town of Middleborough Assessor Map 58J, Lot 4371, and Map 58I, Lot 4265, as more particularly described in a deed recorded with the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds in Book 4831 at page 163, and a deed recorded with said registry in Book 26704 at page 016. The connection to be approved is that for private sewer, more particularly described in an easement agreement dated January 15, 1990, recorded with the registry in the book 10127, page 076, and shown on a plan entitled Easements of Land in Middleborough, Mass., dated February 22nd, 1988, by Storch Engineers, and recorded with the registry in the book 10127, page 083. And after all that, I don't think we're going to discuss this because nobody from Cumberland Farms is here.
But you did good. I was impressed.
Yeah. Mr. Chair,
Yes.
weren't we pulling this one and not having this on the warrant?
We had a discussion about this, and Cumberland Farms is going to get back to us, and we haven't heard anything from them.
But they're not showing up tonight to even define why they're not coming.
But they will be here later tonight, hopefully, to talk about their WRPD.
They're the same,
Yes.
they're the same group?
So perhaps we should move it to next week, like we did with the wetlands bylaw, or discuss it later tonight.
Yeah. I think we should discuss it later tonight, if
Then
they
let's-
want to discuss it.
Let's put this, all right, let's put it off till later tonight, but if they don't, if they say they don't want to talk about it, then we make our own vote whether to support or not support.
Sounds good to me.
Okay?
But I'm just going to say as presented next time.
Yeah, I would hope. You probably won't be able to talk by that time.
I know.
Keep this up.
All right. Wow, we're way early.
Ooh,
Town manager isn't here to read his report. We want to do correspondence?
Sure.
All right, correspondence. Hope you guys have something.
yeah, we got a lot, huh?
Mr. Knowlton, you want to start?
Sure. I have nothing for correspondence this week.
Ms. Stewart?
There was an email of interest for the, from one of our residents for the Commission on Disability. I did email her last week, and I spoke with her today, actually, and she's interested in becoming a member of the Commission on Disability. And so she's not able to make the meeting this week, but she is going to plan to come for next month, and she's going to send a letter of interest. I do think that we have a couple of spots on the Commission on Disability, so if anybody else out there is interested, we meet the second Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. here at the Town Hall. So I would encourage you guys to come. So our meeting this month is Wednesday, May 14th at 6 p.m. here.
The correspondence says ZBA, and I know we had a letter about the,
I think that's a
I don't think that is a mistake. That person wanted to, was applying for any open positions on the zoning board of appeals.
well, I think I mixed them up. But the one Diane just referred to is number 2, and it is for the Disability Commission.
right, there was also a letter
Right,
for
and then there was another one,
the ZBA.
which I think I put aside because I forwarded it to Tammy Mendez to ask her if there were any openings. So I just have that on my desk.
All right,
It shouldn't say ZBA under number 2, that's just my mistake. It should say Disability.
all right.
But even if there aren't any open spots on different commissions, I would encourage residents to send letters of interest so that, you know, the commissions or committees can keep them on file for when reappointment comes up.
And if you want to volunteer, we'll find a spot for you somewhere. Is that it? Anything else?
That's all that I have.
Mr. McKinnon?
Yes, I see we received the report from the health department on their monthly receipts, which I like to see that come in every month, but we're supposed to be getting a report from the building department on their activity every month, and I haven't seen that. I don't think we had one last month, and I don't think we had one this, obviously.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing one recently.
And so I would like to, Jackie, would you please forward a message to the town manager or to the building department that we need their monthly report monthly, every month, accurate, because we have to keep track of these things. That's our job. What about, they're here?
I think we still have to wait. Unless, wow. But I'll find it.
Well, we can ask them if they want to talk about the other thing.
Well, now it's my turn on correspondence, and I have some.
Oh, geez.
We were invited, the Board of Selectmen was invited to the Buzzards Bay Coalition is having their 26th annual meeting on Thursday, May 15th, 2014. And evening will begin with the reception for members at 6 p.m., followed by the annual meeting at 7 p.m. The meeting will include a discussion of our accomplishments in 2013, election of board members, and a presentation of the 2014 Buzzard Bay Guardian Awards. The reason the Conservation Commission and the Board of Selectmen were invited was because of the purchase that the Buzzards Bay and the Wakinko Rod and Gun Club did down at the Rocky Gutter Wildlife Management, or the Buzzards Bay watershed, which is right on Rocky Gutter. That was, I guess, their largest purchase this year, so it's kind of nice to be a part of something that's actually doing some good for the environment, you know. So I'm going to see if I should be able to make it down there Thursday, but if anyone else wants to go along, just let me know. We can carpool.
Would you?
That's worth it, right there, isn't it?
Would you?
Yeah. So, all right.
Taser.
Let's see. Would you care to address the board about the town meeting warrant article regarding the sewer hookup at 105?
Sure.
Now I gotta find it again.
Did you guys go over the invoices too?
We did.
Keep that one coming. You want me to read it?
Just, we just read it, so I'm not gonna read it again, but
Fair enough.
feel free to introduce yourself to the board and tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Again, my name is Doug Troyer, represent Cumberland Farms, connection with, was it Article 29, I believe?
Yep.
We, at the last hearing we were before you on, there was pretty much made clear to us that it was a precedent that this town and the board was, it's not something in which you've done in the past, and not something that you're looking to do in the future. We are currently weighing our position on it at this point. It's our understanding that it has actually been published. It is actually going to be on the town meeting. My understanding is if we want to make a motion at the town hearing to continue it indefinitely, that may be the only option we have at this point. And that is something which we are considering. As we've gone through the permit analysis for this site, it does appear that septic is there is septic there now, and it's septic in which we're proposing to continue with. We were hopeful to tie into the sewer. We felt that it would be better for us and better for the town ultimately, since there is already a private sewer there, and we felt that we had a certain fact pattern that would kind of be the test case to get it there. But upon further conversations with town manager as well as the sewer commissioner, I think we're coming to the position that it may be best to stick with the septic and not force the town to seek precedent, which it's not looking to do. But that decision will be made between now and town meeting. It's our understanding that this board will not support the position, and that's where we are at this point. Unfortunately, that's where we are at this point.
All right.
Chairman,
Mr. McKinnon.
make a motion not to support Article 29.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, it would set precedent if we allowed this to happen. And just, it would open up a can of worms we don't really want to open up.
Okay.
All right?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. We have 20 minutes till hearing.
You can't move any of these hearings up either, can we?
Yeah, they're all public hearings. Well, with the exception of Cumberland's revised plan, it's not technically a hearing, because we closed that.
Yes.
Oh, you'd do anything to get out of here. What are you kidding?
And that's the 8:50 PM. We could actually do that.
Yeah, that's the last one.
We could
If
do it
you
now.
want, I can address that,
Right? I'm
what our
saying that
situation
right.
is.
That's right, it doesn't say hearing on this. That was a full hearing, we did it from A to Z, with the exception of,
Right,
the board
that-
would have to approve any revised plans, if there were any.
All right, before we do this, is the board comfortable taking this out of order?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not it's not advertised, it's not
All right.
public, with a set time.
All right, yeah.
The first one for Cumberland's, it's at 8:40, the 8:50 is not.
Right, yeah. And that's a public hearing, so
Right.
that's one I'll wait for.
I'll be honest, I'm hesitant,
No,
but if the rest of the board wants to move forward, I'll move forward.
because we've already had the hearing on this, and this is just a revised plan, I don't have a problem going. I would have a problem taking any of the other ones out of order because of the fact that it's hearing time, specific hearing time. Even though I think the multitudes out here probably wouldn't have a problem with it, but the fact is, this is different from those.
All right.
And this is the,
You guys okay with, if someone
Mr.
shows up for the 8:40 hearing and wants to discuss this? We'll discuss it again?
sure.
All right. All right.
Fair enough. Again, for the record, my name is Doug Troyer, I represent Cumberland Farms. This is in connection with property located at 9092 East Grove Street. This board granted a special permit back in February 2014 to allow a special permit under Water Resource Protected District Z4 for the construction of a convenience store and gasoline service station on 3 properties located at 90 and 92 East Grove Street, as well as 147 Wood Street. Pursuant to the condition B of that special permit, should Mass DOT require revisions in the plans shall be submitted to the board for the review and approval. In connection with Cumberland Farms' application for permit to access State Highway, we had several meetings and email correspondence with Mass DOT. And before I get into too much detail with this, my engineer was going to be here tonight. Fortunately, his wife's mother passed away, and he's actually attending a funeral. And it looks as if I'm ultimately going to be probably requesting that we continue this to Monday, further continuance. But I think it does make sense, since we have the time, to kind of discuss what I know of this at this point and move forward. There's also, Atlantic is conducting some peer review on this as well, and there has been some communications between my engineer and Rich, I can't think of his last name, from Atlantic, I apologize, your peer review company, and it appears that we have worked through those issues, but Mr. Tymula has unfortunately been dealing with a family issue middle to the end of last week, when we were unable to provide the necessary responses, and are hopeful to be able to do that by tomorrow or Wednesday, necessitating another meeting in front of this board. But in essence, what happened is Mass DOT, upon reviewing the site, we had a 12-inch connection to their system. They wanted to have full on-site circulation. We were able to maintain a 6-inch connection for overrun. And we also had to add a trench drain across the driveway entrance along East Grove Street, which raised the site slightly, allowing more flows to be discharged on site prior to entering their system. We also eliminated one catch basin and reconfigured the drainage to allow the drainage into that basin. We also increased the size of the detention basin in response to Mass DOT's request to increase on-site storage. Based on the new grading of the basin, we added a 4-foot-high black chain link fence along Old Wood Street and connected this to a 6-foot vinyl fence shown along the abutters' properties. We already had the existing 6-foot fence. At the special permit hearings before this board, Atlantic actually originally requested that we put a fence around this system, and we were able to convince them that it would not be necessary, but because of the increase of the size of the area, we have now gone with the addition of putting a 6-foot or 4-foot-high fence around the system. My understanding is that Atlantic is okay with that aspect of it. We also reduced the overflow pipe to 6-inch diameter, which still provides for positive drainage flow off-site. We are also now treating the entire stormwater water quality volume, which is an added treatment measure not in place under the approved design. If you look at the site plan, you can see that the locations of the chain link fence and the guardrail that are on there, and you can see the additional revisions of which we have made. It's our position that pursuant to Condition B, because we have had to make some changes to Mass DOT pursuant to their strict guidelines, that we have maintained the quality of the site. We have met all of the requirements still and believe that this is a minor modification request, and are before this board to approve the minor modification to the grading and drainage plan, as well as the note to the site plan. And I will have Mr. Taimula here with me on Monday to respond to Atlantic Design's peer reviews and hopefully have a letter in support, as the engineers know more about this than I do, to be honest with you. And I believe we should be able to work out all the issues and hopefully have a favorable position from your peer review by next Monday. That's my hope.
Good. Anyone have any questions?
No, I think it's important we hear from the engineers.
My understanding is there were some just clarification questions from Atlantic, and I don't believe we have received anything additional from them other than an email correspondence early in the week, last week, and unfortunately we just haven't been able to respond because of the family situation.
Yep.
So, curiosity, is this board available to continue this to next Monday?
Item number 2 is probably going to move to Wednesday, May 28th, actually. So we need more time to set that up. And I think that last item is also getting moved according to Charlie, I think. So we should be able to. Or say,
Well, we have one other hearing, we just moved the,
right, there's one more article.
that article's gonna take a long time.
So, yeah, why don't we just say 7:45? You might have to wait, you might not.
Is that May 19th?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Should we take a 10-minute recess?
Sure.
All right, we're going to recess till 8:15. And at that time, we'll have our public hearing regarding the Class 2 automobile dealer application by Frank's Affordable Used Cars. silly doing that. All right, 8:15, we'll have a public hearing regarding the Class 2 automobile dealer application by Frank's Affordable Used Cars located at 451 Wareham Street for a change of ownership. Now I have to find that. Is that you, sir?
We get 8:15 here.
I think are we
that
running a
clock
little
doesn't
early
work.
still, or is that,
The clock, I don't trust that one.
Oh, you know what, though?
this is 8:09.
Mine says 8:08. My phone.
Really? Mine says 8:18.
My
Mine says
iPad-
8:16.
They were all on the same internet. How do
This
they
one
have
says
different-
My phone says
8:16 too,
8:09
but my
and this is
phone
8:09.
says different.
It's 8:09. I've got 8:09 on my computer and my phone.
We can't trust the
Yeah, but we
iPads.
go by our iPads because our iPads never lie to us. Our iPads never lie to us.
They're all
Howard.
hooked up to the same internet.
Well, our iPads never lie to us.
Mine says 8:09 though,
Mine says 8:09.
Well, that's because you're
the iPad.
Democrat.
8:16.
And the phone.
My phone says 8:09. My watch says 8:09.
You have to
I'm
wait till
sorry.
8:15.
You just jumped the gun a little bit.
I
At
wish
least
could
you
do
know
it.
how to get to the podium, so that's good. Little training, little training.
Anytime. This device is out to get me tonight.
You did fix it,
Have
though.
to make you look bad, isn't it?
It's the, yeah, first it wasn't on, then it wouldn't load, now it's gonna be the wrong time.
Yeah, I don't understand how a computer can be having the wrong time from all the rest of the world. I mean, I could see it being off an hour if there was some weird time zone thing that they forgot to correct, but
Yeah, how does it get 10 minutes fast?
a computer, you know. Gotta tell IT that their budget's still up in the air. Apparently, they need some help.
I keep my car clock 10 minutes fast. Coming to a meeting, not sure why I'm going. Just like waited. And all of a sudden it occurred to me, what if my daughter changed the clock in my house? She did. She thought she'd be nice and fix it for me.
Yeah.
I had it that way for years.
Joyce doesn't change the clock on her car. She won't change it.
Yeah, I
She
just like
sets it,
that way.
and that's it. And then when daylight savings time comes, she's an hour off. She doesn't care. She just figures it out in her head. Okay.
Dave will fix that.
My wife, she's always right, no matter what. And I got that on tape.
This is a first.
Went down to Ellis Haven State Park on Sunday. Nice little park. Seals were jumping out of the water. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I just hope it wasn't because there's a great white shark out there.
You think up in Alaska where they were saving all the critters with the seal pups from the oil spill from the Valdez. And they cleaned them all up and they took them down and they put them in the water and they started going out and boom! A killer whale comes up and snaps them right out of the water. Oh, very good.
Yeah. Mother Nature's pretty harsh. On the advice of the former chairman,
Go by the
I'll
clock on the wall.
open the meeting up for public hearing regarding the Class 2 automobile dealer application by Frank's Affordable Used Cars located at 451 Wayham Street for a change of ownership.
Excuse me, you have to read the hearing notice.
Middleborough Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, May 12th, 2014, at 8:15, or thereabouts, in the Selectmen's Meeting Room at the Town Hall, 10 Nickerson Ave, for the purpose of discussing an application filed by Robert J. Cloutier, DBA Frank's Affordable Used Cars for a Class 2 automobile dealer's license for the premise located at 451 Wareham Street, Middleborough, Mass. Assessors map 87 L2313. Anyone desiring to be heard on this matter should appear at the time and place designated.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here tonight. I appreciate you taking my license application into consideration. I came in the Frank's Affordable to learn the business and went through the pain and just put in the time to kind of learn everything there is to know. So I'm hoping to come in and, be honest and do right by the people and put out good product to the community. I followed the procedures to the best of my knowledge. I've sent letters to the abutters. I have proof of the letters, and I also have receipts from 6 out of the 10. Receipts from 6 out of the 10 abutters. The mail went out on May 1st, and I got some in as late as today. So I'm still waiting on 4 more abutters. Frank and Cheryl, who previously owned the business, is going to retire.
Jackie, do we need all the green cards returned before we can?
No, as long as we have the receipts. Supposed to send them out at least 7 days in advance, or they're supposed to get, at least 7 days in advance. So I'm just trying to.
Be the 1st, 11. So they would have, right? So I think that's acceptable, right? I'm not sure what you're telling me.
It would have to be read. I think you're okay. He has the receipts that says he sent them out, so not everyone responds. As long as you have the receipts that show you sent them.
All right.
But the board does need to vote it contingent upon the current licensee willingly surrendering the license.
Right.
We can't issue 2 licenses to the same address.
Correct.
We haven't seen or heard from her.
I believe she sent a letter, but I can't officially say that. I know she wrote the letter because I read it.
Oh.
I don't want to speak to it because I can't tell you.
Unless it's in my
Definitively.
inbox and came in today, I haven't seen one.
Right, I'm saying if she put a copy in here because maybe she did.
You can vote it contingent upon receipt or surrendering that license. That's what town council had advised. So,
All right.
and as long as we get that from her.
Any member of the board have any questions?
This is basically just,
I'm sorry.
she's coming off the license.
She's coming off the license
You
and I'm
wanna
going to
go
go
on.
on. Correct.
But we have to issue a whole new license.
Right.
Because we initially issued it to a totally different individual.
Right.
But we can't just take someone's license away, give it to someone
Right.
else.
Right.
And this also has to be contingent upon, I think I gave you a memo.
Yep.
Corey.
And the required bond. You
And
do
the
have-
required bond.
Right.
So those 3.
So three items are the Corey, required bond, and the
Surrendering the
surrendering
license
of
by
the existing.
the present license holder.
I did submit a Corey.
I'm just waiting for the results to come in.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. So you're not changing the size of the lot or anything?
Everything's going to stay the same.
Everything stays the same, okay.
Anyone else have any questions?
Mr. Chair, there were no previous issues with this business when it was under the other? Okay.
None that I'm aware of.
All right.
Same hours?
Yes.
All right, I would entertain a,
I'll close the hearing.
Anyone, any member of the audience have any comments or questions? Closing the hearing.
Motion to approve conditional upon the 3 items of getting the quarry back, the required bond, and the existing, surrendering the existing license.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in
And
favor?
I'm sorry, do you still need the other receipts as they come in, or are we, if they come in, great? Because it's 4 more. Okay, if they come in, I'll submit them. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Great. Thank-
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, public hearing regarding a liquor license transfer from the cabin, 114 East Grove Street. How you doing, sir? I have to read the notice. Do I have to read notice for this? Where is it? Oh, time with this thing. All right, here we go. A hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen on Monday, May 12th, 2014, at 8:20 in the Selectmen's Meeting Room at Town Hall, located at 10 Nickerson Avenue, Middleborough, Mass., for the purpose of discussing an application made by Cassis and Kaya on behalf of Pierce Muir Incorporated for a transfer of an all-alcoholic beverage common victuals license, liquor license, from the Cabin, Inc., DBA The Cabin, to Peace Mirror, Inc., DBA The Cabin, and approval of a change in manager from Todd Remels to Jonathan D. Pell, located at 114 East Grove Street, Middleborough, Mass. Assessors map 65, lot 2925, Middleborough, Mass. Anyone desiring to be heard on the matter shall appear at the time and place designated. So we'll now open the hearing. How you doing, sir?
Hello, good evening. Hi, I am John Pell, and
Okay.
I have made an application for a transfer of a liquor license from Todd Reimels, The Cabin, to myself. I have plans to purchase the business as well, and hope with your approval and the ABCC's approval to do that in the pretty near future.
Are there any green cards required on this? No.
Is all the taxes and all that fun stuff all paid up? Everything good?
Everything's good. Did I give you a memo on this one, just to wait on the quarry? I haven't received the quarry back, so if you could just.
Subject to?
Subject to, no issues with quarry, please.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knowlton?
I see here there's also a note from our health department, routinely conducts a food facility inspection at the time of transfer, but they have not been contacted. Has that been set up?
Yeah, I did contact them, visited them on Friday, submitted the applications, the payment, got receipts for the payment, and they're well aware of the situation, and there will be an inspection this month planned.
You can make that conditional on the health inspection also.
I don't think that's necessary. I spoke with Gene. I put a note. Did you not get the notes on that email?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's perfectly fine. Gene was just mentioning it. It's more or less what she told me, so.
Same
He doesn't
hours?
pass that.
Yeah, same hours, pretty much same operation, don't have any real plans to change anything.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions? All right, I'll close the hearing.
Motion approved, conditional on receipt of the quarry?
No issues with the quarry.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good
Good night.
luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may address, my name is Brian Giamone. I'm a member of the school committee, and I didn't get it at the beginning of the meeting, but I figured I'd mention that this Thursday evening at 6:30, there is a school committee meeting at the Nichols Middle School. So, and the public is, as always, welcome to attend. We will be hearing the school improvement plan, I believe, for the middle school. We're going to be going over the handbooks for the middle school as well as the high school. So, there's nothing really over the top, spectacular that's going to be going on, but if they can't be there in the room, it's still on TV. There's a Middleborough School channel, and they can catch it on that. So feel free to attend or watch, or if there's anything question-wise, please feel free to get a hold of us. Thank you.
Mr. McKinnon?
Mr. Giamone, do you broadcast that live, or is it taped?
It is broadcast live as we do it, as well as taped for further play afterwards, but it is a live broadcast. We've been doing it now without glitch, I think, for about a year. We had some growing pains and glitches when we were doing it, but now it seems to be working pretty good. We've got the volume situation squared away. We were having some volume issues with some on the crossover between Comcast and Verizon, so that's been squared away. So yeah, that is live.
Do you guys have a public comment period?
We don't have one on the agenda, but we have been relatively open as long as it's not substantive. If it's something that needs to be put on the agenda, we would prefer it to be on the agenda. And all they would have to do is either email the chair, Richard Gillis, and his email address is on the school. I think it's rgillis@middleborough.k12.ma.us, or on the school website. If you go to district, the school committee, our emails are there. If you email the chair, if there's something there, probably would get it on the agenda. We're usually open if there's an item on the agenda. We do listen to people and we do allow them to come up. I've never had a situation in my 3 years like New Hampshire where somebody who was really upset and wanted more than 2 minutes to speak was not allowed. I think I would be the first to step up and say, let's let the man speak, especially for what he was talking about. No, we don't have one on there because it's usually we'd like to have, somebody's usually coming in with a real meaty item that they want to discuss. It should be an agenda item. Unlike you guys, some people come up and make announcements like this. Doesn't really need to be on an agenda.
Well, we tolerate these things.
Exactly. More so than other communities. Some boards don't allow any open discussion.
We almost were one of them.
Close to, absolutely. But adjacent communities just north of here may not allow public comment, which is sad. Thank you.
All right. My clock is telling me it's 8:30. So, I will open up a hearing for an underground storage tank regarding with Cumberland Farms at 150 South Main Street. A hearing will be held in the Selectmen's Meeting Room at Town Hall, 10 Nickerson Ave, Middleborough, Mass. on Monday, May 12th of 2014 at 8:30 p.m. for the purpose of discussing an application filed by Marcus, Arico, Emmer, and Brooks, P.C. on behalf of Cumberland Farms Incorporated for an amended underground fuel storage tank license with a total quantity of 32,000 gallons of all flammable liquids to be stored and a total quantity of 8,000 gallons of all combustible liquids to be stored for a property located at 150 South Main Street, Assessors Map 581, Lot 4265, Middleborough, Mass. Anyone desiring to be heard on this matter should appear at the time and place designated.
I approach handout.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I proceed?
Sure.
Great. Again, name is Doug Troyer, represent Cumberland Farms. This is concerning 150 South Main Street. We also are before this board tonight on special permit for Water Resource Protective District Zone 2. I don't know if it makes sense to do them both at the same time, or if we are constrained to start with this one first and go with the second.
Take them each.
Yeah, we have to take them one at a time.
Fair enough.
I mean, if this takes 10 minutes, we can go right into the next one, but.
Fair enough. I will give you a brief overview of the project. We'll definitely get into much more detail in connection with the special permit. But in essence, Cumberland Farms is seeking to raise and rebuild the existing property. Currently, there is a approximately 1,200 square foot convenience store / gas station building on site, and 4 pumps and 4 dispensers. Cumberland Farms is seeking to maintain the existing gas use, just relocate the pumps and dispensers. Currently, there are 2 in the front of the building and 2 in the rear. In connection with the underground storage tank license, currently there is 40,000 gallons of storage on site, 28,000 for gas and 12,000 for diesel. We presented the application for underground storage tank to the fire chief, who signed off on it. In essence, what Cumberland Farms is looking to do is maintain the 40,000 capacity and maintain the same pumps. We are proposing double wall fiberglass underground storage tanks and piping with associated monitoring devices, enhanced environmental quality of the site by providing systems that meet and exceed those mandated by state and federal requirements, regulations. We intend to install 2 new underground storage tanks, and if I can approach, placing those where the red marker is, I'll let Phil do it for me, to that location on the property. Phil, do you know exactly where they are today? So currently they are located in that area, and we're looking to move them to the other side of the site. We are proposing to have 2 compartments in each tank. One compartment will have 12,000 gallons of regular gasoline, and the other will contain 8,000 gallons of premium gas. The other tank will have 12,000 gallons of the different type of regular gasoline, as well as 8,000 gallons of diesel fuel. There's currently diesel fuel being sold on the property, and we're looking to maintain that use. As I mentioned, both tanks are double wall fiberglass, rust-proof underground storage tanks with secondary containment, continuous leak detection, monitoring wells in the pads surrounding the tanks, and a built-in provision test capability. We intend to install a system called VitaRoute, which is a monitoring system with an audio-visual alarm system. The state-of-the-art tank monitoring system manufactured by VitaRoute provides continuous monitoring of the space of the double-wall tanks and leak detection, and meets all applicable EPA regulations. The tank inventory monitor is connected to the applicant's center computer system for dispatching trucks. Tank overfills are prevented because the applicant's dispatcher will schedule deliveries only when tanks are empty and require filling. The added feature to this system is that if any other system monitors are activated, the dispatcher is automatically notified. The system also notifies store employees immediately when the sensor is activated. When a tank is being filled, the inventory monitor acts as a high-level gauge, activating an audible and visual alarm when the volume in the tank reaches 90%. The driver is required to be at the tank truck manifold and therefore have sufficient time to stop flow into the tank. The design and institutional features such as the double wall tanks and sophisticated monitoring systems provide adequate site and environmental protection, and a technology superior facility equipped to address any potential environmental concerns. The tanks that are in there right now, I believe, are from 2003. There's been a gas station at this property since 1971. The original tanks were removed in 1977. Exxon came back to the property in around 1989, installed tanks, and operated from 1989, I believe, up to about 2000, and actually increased their capacity from 2 pumps to 4 pumps in 1996. I believe when Cumberland Farms purchased the property, I think it was in 2003, The tanks were upgraded in 2003 to what is there today. We're looking to substantially upgrade what's there today with the new state-of-the-art tanks. This is very similar to what, it's exactly what's going into the facility on East Grove Street, to which this board granted the underground storage tank license back in February. Has the same safety modifications and features available. We are in a Zone 2 Water Resource Protective District. We are not looking to increase any nonconformities. As we have the capacity for 40,000 gallons today, we are looking to keep that capacity as well as keep the dispensers at 4. And we respectfully request that this board grant the underground storage tank license.
Anybody have any questions?
Does any of it go beyond the EPA regulations, or is it just sort of the minimum that's required?
I believe that we have our regulations. I don't know exactly the exact specifics, but we meet and exceed both state and EPA regulations.
Any other questions? Mr. McKinnon?
I noticed the fire chief has signed off on this. Has planning sign off on this? Do they even have to?
No, it's only the fire chief and it comes to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Milton, no? So you're removing the old tanks?
Removing the old tanks and installing in a new location the same size tanks,
But new tanks?
brand new tanks.
Brand new, state-of-the-art, meet or exceed all the...
Yes, the 2003 tanks will be removed and disposed according to all applicable rules and laws, and we are installing brand new state-of-the-art double-wall fiberglass rust-proof sound with all the bells and whistles that we can possibly have in that new location.
I just have one question that's, I can't not ask. Is that a tree on the corner of your parking lot right in there?
The bottom right-hand corner,
Right there, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a tree? Okay.
it's a landscape garden.
Doesn't block sight lines or anything?
No.
No? All right.
We'll talk about that in the
Okay.
special
I
permit,
just
definitely.
it just seems out of place there, you know? And I like to see people coming at me when they're coming at me. But, all right, anybody else have any other questions? All right, I'm going to close the hearing.
The audience, well, I guess.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions? No? All right. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right.
It looks like it's 8:40.
Yeah, we're right on time. The Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing in the Selectmen's Meeting Room at the Town Hall at 10 Nickerson Avenue, Middleborough, Mass. on Monday, May 12th at 8:40 p.m. for the purpose of discussing an application filed by Marcus, Arico, Emmer, and Brooks, P.C. on behalf of Cumberland Farms Incorporated for a special permit under the Water Resource Protection District bylaw to allow for the raise and rebuild of a convenience store and gasoline station at 150 South Main Street, Assessor's Map 581, Lot 4265, Zoning District, General Use, WRPD, District Z2. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should appear at the time and place designated. With that, we'll open the hearing.
Good evening again. My name is Doug Troyer, represent Cumberland Farms. This is the Water Resource Protective District Z2 special permit application relating to property located at 150 South Main Street. Property is located in a GU district to which retail use and motor vehicle light services are permitted as a right. The site is also located in a Z2 protection district. Therefore, the applicant is specifically before this board seeking a special permit pursuant to the provisions of Z2 of the Water Resource Protected District. I've kind of given you a little bit of a background, but just to be consistent, the existing building on the property is approximately 1,200 square feet and is located on a approximately 56,000 square foot lot with frontage on both Main Street and Clark Street East. The existing gasoline service station was constructed in 1989 by Exxon Mobil pursuant to a special permit which was granted by the special granting authority at that time, which was the ZBA. As I indicated before, 1971, I believe Exxon opened the site. 1977, they removed the tanks, and then Exxon came back to the Zoning Board of Appeals in the late 80s seeking to reestablish the pre-existing non-conforming use, and the ZBA at that time granted that special permit. In 1996, Exxon went back to the Zoning Board of Appeals to modify that special permit, looking primarily and I think solely to add additional dispensers and the pump islands. In essence, there was, can you put the existing up if you don't mind? The existing is actually in the package that I gave you. It's the first page. If you look at the first page in the existing, you'll see that currently there's 2 dispensers up front and there's 2 dispensers in the rear. That addition was added in 1996. Other than that, there have been really no changes to this site since 1989 when Exxon reestablished its use. In around 2000, the Bank of New York took over ownership of this property. In October of 2003, Cumberland Farms purchased the site from the Bank of New York. Cumberland Farms, from October 2003 to the end of December 2013, leased this to a tenant who operated a Gulf Express, both a convenience store and gas use at this site. Cumberland and Gulf Oil are in essence one and the same. In beginning of January, Cumberland Farms took over the keys of this site and took over control of the operations of this site. The site was shut down for a few weeks, I believe, and then it was reopened and is currently being utilized at a smaller capacity of items that are being sold in a convenience store during the process that Cumberland Farms is looking, which we are before this board tonight, seeking to raise and rebuild this property at that location. One other note that does come into play for us in this special permit application is that in October of 2011, the site was subject to a taking by the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. At that time, the Cumberland Farms property was about 61,000 square feet. Due to that taking that happened in October 10, when Mass DOT was making its road improvements and sidewalk improvements to the area, we lost about approximately 4,400 square feet of land, reducing our lot to 56,615, which is what is currently there today. I'll let Phil get into the real specifics on this, but just to kind of give you an overview, you've seen the site plan, and it may be good if you can put back the site plan, Phil. Cumberland is looking to raise the existing building and gasoline operations and rebuild a new 4,500 square foot colonial style convenience store and construct 4 self-service gasoline islands with a protective canopy. This site is virtually, it's not identical, but it is very similar to what Cumberland Farms is looking to do that this board approved on East Grove Street. And as I indicated back in February, Cumberland Farms has a massive project going on right now where they are refacing all of their existing stores, as well as new stores that they purchase, and they're bringing in this new model. The old model used to have the red and orange. The Gulf Expresses have the red and blue. Cumberland Farms now has this green and white, much more aesthetically pleasing building. It's more of a colonial style. It seems to fit into these South Shore, as well as the Cape and other areas where Cumberland Farms is putting in its new stores. And it's, I believe it's a fantastic product and of design. We are proposing to maintain the 40,000 gallons, also maintain the same amount of pumps in which we have, just reconfiguring them on site. We are proposing to have 24 hours, 7 days a week operating hours, and we are doing some substantial landscaping. We can talk about certain ideas about landscaping a little bit, but believe we are doing some substantial improvements to the site, not only bringing it up to speed and bringing it into more of the modern era, but also enhancing stormwater, as well as the safety on the site, making this site more aesthetically pleasing as well as more safe to pedestrians and the traveling public. We meet almost all of your zoning requirements. There is one that is of minor consequence that I have identified in my memorandum to you. Pursuant to section 5.61 of the bylaws, we must have a 25-foot landscape buffer. The only area where we do not meet that is located in the front here. Currently, there's nothing there. It's 0. We are looking to increase that buffer to 9.7, which will make the pre-existing non-conforming use less non-conforming. And we believe that that is a substantial improvement, will not be a significant detriment, and we're hoping that this board will find that same as well and make the determination that that's not a significant impact to the neighborhood. The other issue that has come up through the peer review, which will be discussed more fully, and I want to bring it to your attention while Phil is talking, so that because he's going to reference some of it as well, is pursuant to bear with me, I apologize. Section J of your bylaw under Zone 2. Any use that will render impervious more than 15% but not more than 25% of any lot is prohibited. Currently, the impervious use on this site is 44%. The ZBA granted the increase in impervious use in 1989 from, I think it was in the low 30s up to 41%. The reason we have gone from 41% to 44% immediately on existing is due to the taking. So currently we sit at a 44% impervious use. We are increasing that to 56%. I have some arguments that I would like to raise, but I think it's going to make more sense to have Phil kind of go through the plan and then let me come back and kind of raise those issues and kind of give you where my position is and go from there. But I did want this board to be aware that those are the two major issues of the zoning, is the landscape buffer as well as the impervious use issue. And with that, I will turn it over to Phil and get back to you in a few minutes.
Is this mic working here?
It does. Sure. Just bring it up front.
Good evening. My name is Phil Henry with Civil Design Group. We're the civil engineers on this project. Most of what I'm going to say is probably going to be repeat, but I'll try and get some new site highlights throughout to keep everybody interested. I'd like to start with the existing conditions first, just to get everyone acclimated in. What you're looking at here is the existing conditions. Obviously, we have South Main Street at the lower half of the page. Clark Street is running up and down your page. The existing site here is such, this outline here is the impervious area of the site. Currently, there's about a 1,200 square foot convenience store and two pumps on each side, but they're facing north-south as opposed to, the proposed condition is more of an east or west direction. So everything on this site is facing north-south for the most part. We have two entrances on South Main Street, one here, and then we also have the entrance on Clark Street as well. As Doug mentioned, our proposed, actually before I do that, the underground storage tanks are located right here. Half of the pumps, or half of the tanks are underneath asphalt. The other half is underneath the landscape area as well. The proposed plan, as I said, is to raise all the structures and construct a 4,500 square foot convenience store facing South Main Street with 4 multi-product dispenser pumps, again, facing South Main Street. So the vehicles will be oriented east-west as opposed to, as they are today, north-south. We are The underground storage tanks are now located on the north-hand side of the site as opposed to the south-hand side of the site. And what we also have is 20 parking spaces, which meets code. I believe 18 is required by code. We provide 20. And they are along the front and along the side as well. We are maintaining the curb cuts on South Main Street. This one here, we are sliding further north to line up with Clark West. This access point here, we are proposing we're not modifying that at all. It's existing to remain. And this curb cut here on Clark Street, we are pushing further to the east as well. Some other site amenities, trash enclosure. Trash enclosure is located here to the north. We also have an air tower here. We also provide handicap accessible spaces right at the front.
Question?
Yeah.
Chairman?
Yeah, go right ahead.
How are you going to get your fuel trucks in there?
Fuel trucks, they're actually, the truck turn is actually on CFG 4.0, which is on the site, which is the site plan. The trucks come up north, and we show the truck template, which is, it's about a WB50, the same size as a WB50 tractor trailer. They come in north, they make this right, and they can loop around, and the trailer is stationed at an angle like this, facing South Main Street. We do that for multiple reasons. We like the trucks to make a series of left-hand turns as opposed to right-hand turns, because it's easier for trucks to make left-hand turns, as well as the unloading process. We want that to occur on the right-hand side, away from the traffic, so the driver who's going to be unloading the fuel does so in a protected fashion. So to answer your question, there's a right-hand turn in, it makes a left right in front of the site, stops and fuels right here on the concrete pad, loading on the right-hand side, or as you're looking at the plan, on the east, and then exits this site and can make this right without impeding on any of the oncoming traffic lanes.
You get enough room in there for, what are they, about a 40-foot trailer?
Those are about, from bumper to bumper, I think those are about 53 feet. What would you say?
Maybe a little bit bigger with their tankers. They're a little longer than a typical 18-wheel, but
Gary McNaughton with McMahon Associates. Their tankers are a little bit longer than the 18-wheeler, but they also turn a little bit better than some of the larger trucks, so they're a little more maneuverable.
You can understand my concern. I was thinking about this. I don't want a tractor trailer backing out onto that street.
Yeah, and
nothing good's going to happen with that. You know.
I would agree.
Essentially.
Yeah, and actually, just to add on to what he's saying, that right turn in and right turn out, it's kind of the worst-case scenario. If they choose to make a left turn going out, if they're there at, off hours, loading, and traffic's light, and they make a left, that's an easier turn for a truck to make, assuming there's gaps in traffic.
It would make more sense for him to turn left, because
if they're getting back to the highway, right.
Heading north, there's nothing for him up there.
Their other store to...
Coming back through the town, that's no good.
No, unless they're going up to their other store to fill that one as well. That would be the only reason if they have another destination.
Thank you.
Yep.
Before we get into the architecture, I do want to touch on some of the other site amenities. There's seven freestanding LED sight lights that are sporadic or strategically located throughout the site to provide sufficient light cover, but by the same time, it does not allow for any spillage over the site. We're less than 1 foot candle at all the property lines. And then there's also lighting underneath the fuel canopy, and there's also lighting up in the soffits underneath the convenience store as well. All of it is LED and very energy efficient. As far as landscaping, we have 32 trees on site and over 220 shrubs. And as Doug mentioned, that we are increasing this landscape frontage here from 0, and it's about 9.7 at its shortest distance. As you move north, it gets a little wider as well. So, as you can see, we focused our landscaping along the edges of the property as well. Back here is As Doug mentioned, the architecture is somewhat similar to the first Cumberland Farms that was before you a few months ago, but I'll just repeat some of the highlights. We have a shingled roof system with New England style structure, vinyl siding, and then this stone veneer, which, as I'm sure you saw, the stone veneer is throughout the site. There's also the stone veneer on the multi-product dispenser pumps. It's also around the sign as well at the entrance. So this stone is throughout the entire architecture, not only the building, but also the pumps and the piling sign as well. Canopy, it's a simple design. It's about 14 feet in height to the understory of the canopy. The fire suppression is housed in the roof of the canopy. Therefore, there's about a 3.5-foot depth, or height, I should say, with the canopy. What is shown here in black would ultimately show up as your green band, which is shown in the proposed rendering there. What you see, this middle face right here is just a white face, and it's topped off with a crown mold. As you can see, the stone veneer is captured throughout not only the convenience store but also in the gas pump as well. As you can see, this is a before and after. This is existing and proposed renderings. Can you see that? Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, no, no.
Okay. That just gives you an image of what it looks like today if you drove down South Main Street. This is an actual photograph with the photo simulation incorporated in it. You can see the New England style structures as well. And this is This is a side view. If you're looking, I guess, McDonald's gravel parking lot on the south side of Clark Street. That's the existing drive up Clark Street. You can see there's a good change in grade. That's the existing Gulf, and this is what you'll be looking at in the future proposed Cumberland Farms. That's just to give you some perspective. Now I just want to touch on the grading and the drainage, because an issue was raised that we can't exceed 25% impervious coverage, or I guess in this case we can increase to what is existing condition, which is about 44%. In designing this site, we looked at the stormwater. Well, let me back up. You know, we understand that we're in a zone 2 and recharging runoff to groundwater is important. So what we did is when we attacked this site from the stormwater perspective, we said, well, what can we do to maximize the infiltration on this site? And we had a state highway here. We all know that we cannot tie our drainage connection into the state highway. And on Clark Street here, the first catch basin is right in front of the McDonald's, about 50 feet to the east. So we would have to actually build our own drainage infrastructure down to the stream across from McDonald's. So we said, well, we are aware that we're increasing the impervious coverage. Why don't we capture all the runoff and size an infiltration system to accommodate everything? So that's what we did. So in our minds, we are approaching this as we are mitigating the offset, more than mitigating the offset for the increase in coverage. When you're looking at a site, on an average site, you see where the runoff is going off the site. You generate a flow and a volume, and you make sure you just stay below that flow. We didn't do that here. We said, well, let's see where it's going off site, and then let's chop it off in the proposed condition, with the exception of the landscape areas that we can't control that do run off. But we said, why don't we capture the impervious coverage and have no outlet, but we would size it accordingly. So, and that's what we did. This is actually one generation prior for our infiltration system. It's now over here, but we have this, it's the same watershed area. So what you're looking at here, this is the watershed for the proposed condition. PR5, okay, which is all the impervious coverage with the small exception of runoff on Clark Street, that is all caught by either an inlet or a trench drain. And these trench drains, which is basically this line here and this line here, are the furthest downstream we can locate those in order to capture runoff and then bring that runoff back into the infiltration system. So in return, so what this yielded, so essentially the only runoff that is coming from impervious coverage in the proposed condition is essentially this small piece running off on Clark Street here. Keep in mind that today there's really no stormwater controls, no way to mitigate the flow, and really no way to treat the flow as well. So in doing so, this, what you see here, PR5, is all captured and is infiltrated into these concrete structures here, which is 16 8 by 14 foot, 4 feet high concrete structures. And just to give you some numbers here, using the DEP standard for calculating recharge for sites that increase impervious coverage, we're in hydraulic soil group A, which requires the most recharge. The recharge requirements for this site would yield about 371 cubic feet of runoff captured and infiltrated. This system here captures and recharges 5,800 cubic feet, or 15 times that requirement. And literally there's no outlet to the system. The only way for the water to go down is to go through the ground. I will grant you that there is a grade, there is an inlet grade at the top, but that elevation is above the 100-year storm, which we designed. We only designed it to the 100-year storm. So if there was a 500-year storm, yes, there probably would be water coming out of it. There probably would even be water going into it. But there is that system. I guess I just wanted to focus on the improvement, at least in our eyes, that this stormwater approach is focusing on. So in reality, we think that we are more than offsetting for the increase in impervious coverage just by means of infiltrating the recharge. Not to mention we are pre-treating before it does infiltrate into the ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Just getting back to things on the legal side of what we are here before this board tonight. As I indicated before, we are in compliance with all of the zoning dimensity requirements except for the section 5.61, the bylaw, which requires a 25-foot landscape buffer zone. It is our position that because that is currently 0 and that we are increasing that to, at the minimum most point, 9.7 feet, it is making a pre-existing use less detrimental, and that it's not a substantial detriment than the existing use, and we respectfully request a finding of that and allow that dimensional requirement to be found as a pre-existing non-conforming use. In connection with the impervious, the reason the application is focused the way it is my reading of the October 12th recodification of your bylaw. When we received the peer review from Atlantic in April 10th of 2014, wherein they do bring to our attention that pursuant to 8.27.3J, the maximum impervious surface allowed is 25%. We, as the site plan does indicate, we are increasing it from 44% to 57%. It is a 13% increase of impervious. When I read the bylaw, and the reason I did not initially request or indicate, I look at GU district, which is what we are in. 60% impervious is what is required. Then you go to the next level. Watershed Protected District, Zone 2. Then I go to 8.2.7.3J, which says any use that will render impervious more than 15%, but not more than 25% of any lot is prohibited. It's confusing. It's not clear. I feel that there was an argument for me to make to this board that because we are doing some substantial groundwater recharge through the stormwater management, we are improving the site in connection with that, that we did not fall within this section J, because there's nothing that talks about before 15 or after 25. The way it's written, it's kind of unclear which way to go. That's my legal argument. Whether or not that will hold water, should we go forward, is something for another day. But that was the main reason for our initial application, is my reading of that recodified bylaw. I didn't believe that we fell within that requirement as written. Because it didn't pertain to anything over 25 or anything less than 15%, I then went back to the first step, which was GU, which requires 60%, and I felt like we were in compliance with that. Then I went back in time and looked back at the 1989 special permit from the ZBA, and found that, in fact, back in 1989, they allowed a 41% impervious cover for the lot when 25% is the maximum allowed, which kind of re-emphasized my position, because that was the old bylaw. This new bylaw was recodified. GU districts no longer have to go through stringent special permit site plan review. This board is where you need to go to at this point, based on that new recodification. And when I further looked at the 1989 permit, they do indicate that the 41% impervious cover is an increase of approximately 11%, but due to the substantial improvements to the site, it was a pre-existing non-conforming use to which they could approve. At that time, it was a pre-existing non-conforming use. Now, it's my position that we are in a GU district, 60%. Because J doesn't apply to us, I felt I had a good faith argument to come before this board and argue that we are not bound by that. I know that Atlantic is taking the position that we are bound by that. I do know that your Board of Health is taking a position that we're bound by that we cannot do more than 25% under J. Fortunately for Cumberland Farms, is our existing is already 44%. And pursuant to Section A of the same Zone 2 regulation, so long as we do not increase existing nonconformities, we should be okay. So it puts us in a situation before this board where I know we have a situation with impervious, and I'm not sure which way this board interprets its bylaw, and would be interested to know the answer to that, and then talk about what our options are in connection with that. I also wanted to come before this board tonight and realize that this actually, there are some issues to which Mr. Henry is still talking with Atlantic Review about. We received a peer review on Friday, which was the second response to our initial peer review. Mr. Henry has talked with Atlantic today. We believe that the areas which are kind of left open will hopefully be able to be resolved between now and the next meeting. The only one that is a definite deal breaker with Atlantic is definitely an impervious issue, and it's going to make a decision on how this board interprets its bylaw, and if it agrees with my reading of the bylaw, or if it agrees with its peer review's reading of the bylaw. With that, in connection with the remaining parts of this project, it is a dramatic increase to what is there today. It is a 1989 building that has 2003 systems on it, to which things have changed, to which we are looking to vastly upgrade it, both aesthetically, landscaping, facilities, safety, and on and on and on. We believe that we have met the requirements of your bylaw, that it is within harmony and purpose of the intent of Water Resource Protected District. It's appropriate in the natural topography, soils, and other characteristics. It will not, during construction or thereafter, have an adverse environmental impact, and it will not adversely affect existing or potential water supply. It's our understanding that the purpose of the Water Resource Protected District is to protect the quality and quantity of drinking water, to preserve and protect existing and potential sources of drinking water supplies, to prevent temporary and permanent contaminations of the environment, and to protect, preserve, conserve, and maintain the water and natural resources of the town and to prevent pollution. We believe that we have demonstrated that the site, as proposed, will not be more substantially detrimental than any of the pre-existing non-conforming uses in connection with the landscape buffer. And we respectfully request that this board continue tonight's hearing after we answer some questions so that we can hopefully resolve some of the other issues that are left open with Atlantic and come back to you in several weeks. I understand town meeting is around the corner, but I would love to answer any questions this board may have in hopes to see if we can address any concerns you have between now and the next meeting if this board believes that a continuance is necessary. And I leave it at that at this point.
Any member of the board have any questions?
I do, Mr. Chairman. Has this been before the Commission on Disability at all with the proposed building?
No, we don't have to go before them, but I can tell you that we are adding ADA compliant sidewalks. We are adding ADA compliant restrooms. And as far as I know, and Phil can correct me if I'm wrong, we comply with all ADA regulations in connection with what we're looking to do there. Phil, you can add.
I concur with that. We're providing the one handicap space, even below 25 requires one accessible space, and acceptable route from that space to the front door, which we're providing. The outdoor seating area located here is also under 2% wall direction, which is accessible. That limits the exterior. I can't speak for the interior, but I know that all the interior facilities are also limited by as well.
And I believe that the existing, it's a substantial upgrade in that aspect and what is there today.
No, you're not required to go before the Commission on Disability, but would you be willing to do that?
Is it a town, I guess I'm not 100% familiar, is it a town? I'm ignorant on whether or not there's an actual town commission against disability. I don't think we would.
There is.
If we're required and this board thinks that this site plan is required to go before that, I would obviously take that into consideration. I believe all towns, I'm not sure if they are copied on the site plan. I have no problem in them between now and the next hearing being provided with a site plan to see if they have any comments that would maybe necessitate us actually coming before them.
Have they issued comments?
They have not. I haven't seen comments at this point, but if they haven't received a site plan, I would not have an opposition in forwarding a site plan to them to the point that if they feel that a hearing is necessary, we would definitely take it under advisement. And hopefully when they see what we have done, that there would not be any questions to it. I didn't have to go through that process in the other site, so that's why it's news to me. So I apologize for my ignorance on that.
Do you have more specific plans for the inside of the building?
We definitely do. It's in your package that I originally submitted. You have the, I don't have it with me.
Sheet A1.1 is the interior layout of the facility.
I'd like to give them the opportunity, or I'd like to give the Commission on Disability the opportunity to review it. And again, I don't think it's required, but if I would like that.
If it's part of if it is part of the natural progression of sending things to departments, I don't have an objection with you submitting it to that department for comments similar to what everyone else, all the other departments that I've had to submit stuff to have. And we would definitely entertain any issues that they would have to address those. So if that wants to be forwarded, I can forward it to this board, a complete PDF of those plans, so it'd be easy to email. Would have no problem sending that to Ms. Shanlin so that we can disseminate it. But if it's not a requirement, I wouldn't want to be bound by that ultimate decision. But with that said, I have no problem in submitting to town departments for comments to help the plan become a better plan if, in fact, we're missing something.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. McKinnon?
Relative to this discussion, wouldn't the building inspector be required to make sure that everything is ADA compliant also, according to the current building laws and rules?
To the best of my knowledge.
So it's
Right, but we don't.
And we didn't do it for the other Cumberland Farm either. So, I mean, why are we doing it for one, not the other?
Got to start somewhere,
And
right?
well, yeah, but the building inspector isn't going to let anything get built that doesn't meet the current codes and requirements.
Well, the building inspector is not on our commission, so on the disability commission.
No,
So we-
but the commission is relative to the laws of the land today. All of the disability laws are built into the building codes.
They are.
So if the building inspector is going to be checking the property, there's no reason, I mean, you can send it to them for review, but not as a official board that's going to be able to say, stop this, it's no good. I mean, all of the laws are going to be followed, and that's what's important.
Well, hopefully.
Well, they will be. Our building inspector?
I'm not
We won't let a
saying,
nail get put in unless it's supposed to be.
I'm just saying we have a commission on disability for the town, and I think a lot of things are not put before it because they're not required to be put before it, but I think that,
Well, they can certainly submit the plans to them, but just as more of a courtesy than anything else.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
I'd like to echo what Mr. McKinnon says. I don't want to start setting a precedence where we're submitting this to the Committee on Disabilities. I think it's fine for them to submit comments, as other town departments do, but to then make this a requirement just seems like that's beyond the scope of what the Commission on Disabilities is set up for.
well, the commission on disability is set up to make sure that we're, as an advisory commission mostly, but to make sure that any, especially any new construction is looked at from the point of view of any of our disabled residents. That's who the commission represents. So I'm not suggesting that they be required to, approve of the plan necessarily, but I would ask that, the hearing be continued at least until the commission has had a chance to put it on their agenda and review it and submit any comments that they feel like reviewing.
Can we come to a compromise? I'll make this as a suggestion. The hearing's going to be continued anyway.
Cool.
If the Commission on Disabilities, or Disabilities Commission, would like to submit comments to the Board of Selectmen regarding their plans, I'd be happy to listen to them.
Okay.
Mr. McKinnon?
That's
Does that
fine.
sound all right?
That's fine.
Mr. Knowlton?
That's fine.
And Cumberland would be more than willing to submit a full PDF package to Ms. Shalen if, for ease and convenience, so that way you can have a PDF, or I will submit another 11 by 17 copies or a full-size copy, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, we have an extra copy we can share with them.
Great, perfect. If you need anything, just advise.
Anyone else have any comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, my concern is more with the, we keep increasing the amount of impervious area. Eventually, it's going to get to be 100%, and then what? And, yeah, it was changed once before, but also time has changed, rules have changed. I'm not real comfortable about making another exception going from, what, 44% to 56%?
57.
41% to 56%?
It's a 13% increase.
That's a big increase, and I understand that the state gobbled up some of your property, right? I'll give you that. And I understand that you are doing something in the front that wasn't in the front before. But I'm just concerned about if we move that barrier up, we move that mark up for you, we have to move it up for everybody. And when we start moving it up, we start getting into more and more problems. So I'm reluctant to go with an increase in the imperviousness. And I do want to see, naturally, I mean, we hire a review agency for a purpose, because I'm not an engineer. You're an engineer, I'm not. And I need to have an engineer tell me that this is within the scope of the town's protections, what we're supposed to be here for. I have to hire experts for some of this stuff. Some of it I know myself, but this is out of my realm. So I need to see all of the Atlantic design, review is all, everybody comes together. Just much the same as we just made an agreement in here. We've got to all come together, but that imperviousness is a problem with me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Then the first issue that I have with the impervious is I think it is this board's purview to determine if my reading of the bylaw is way off base, or if in fact that bylaw, as codified in October 2012, does put a maximum of 25% as read on this property, or am I exempt from J, section J, and I'm under the GU district, to which would be 60%, which I would be in compliance with. That's the first issue that I guess I need.
Well, we'll run it by town council, we'll get you an answer.
Fair enough. In connection with the impervious as well is, if in fact this board finds that J does comply, and I am limited to section A of that 8.2.72A, whereby I cannot increase the nonconformities, I look at my options that are available to me at that point, which would be going back to the ZBA, seeking further modification of that 1989 special permit, increasing the impervious to what I'm looking for, or a variance. And it's probably a question for another day, but if in fact this board does render a decision based on town council's advice, which is highly recommended, as to whether or not my interpretation is flawed, would this board be able to rule on my special permit application by putting a condition that if I want to proceed with this site plan as is, so long as I get a variance and or modification from the CBA for the increase in impervious? Is that something that this board could or would consider?
We would run that by town council and get you an answer.
That is fair enough. Thank you.
So are we talking June 2nd? Is that?
I think we're looking at June 2nd. I think based on town meeting and based on the fact that we may need to do some changes and we need to get in touch with Atlantic and finalize things, I think 3 weeks is fair. And to have your commission, Commission Against Disability, basically to review the plans and provide comments as well, I think that's fair.
Is there any way you can make this plan, I mean, if it's a 13% increase, any way you can just get us that so you're kind of grandfathered in on the impervious? I mean, believe me, I actually appreciate I share Mr. McKinnon's sentiments as well, and I appreciate the lengths you've gone to do the groundwater recharge. That's one of the things that I'm a fan of, actually. But that 13% increase is a tough sticking one.
It's something that we will strongly look at between now and...
Because that solves a lot of problems.
It does, if in fact my hopes and prayers of my reading of Section J are not agreed upon. Fortunately, I have a legal argument, but is it a legal argument I really want to fight tooth and nail with? And I think that's considerations that I want to have with my project engineer and my client.
I think you made a pretty good argument so far.
Understood.
That's my opinion.
I think there's something that will definitely be a consideration because there's a substantial chance that we may need to make some specific changes. So having the additional 3 weeks to consider that, as well as obtain town council's review on my legal analysis of this, I think we will definitely consider it.
I don't think there's any problem at all with in my opinion, with what you've done with the front buffer zone. I think that's fine. I think that the thing that I have a little trouble with, Mr. McKinnon has a little more trouble with, is that 13% increase.
Understood.
Jackie, 8 o'clock on the 2nd?
We could do it early.
We have something else we're going to do that night, so.
Oh, okay.
So we have to vote to continue.
Mr. Knowlton, did you have something to add?
No, I just wanted to add that I appreciate all the thought that's gone into this as well, and that impervious number is large, but I also understand the state came and took a lot of that frontage you had and pushed you back. I'll be very interested to see what town council comes up with for their recommendations. I also agree with Chairman Frawley that the frontage you've done there with the supposed to be the 25 feet?
Yeah, 25-foot buffer.
Right. I think you've done a good job starting that buffer out. I like that. there's nothing there right now. I think as a whole, this is a huge improvement over what's existing there.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. McKinnon?
it's the legal thing. I'm not a, I'm not an attorney, I'm not an attorney or an engineer, so I gotta go by my experts, but, I certainly hope we can work this out, because what's there, this would be a tremendous improvement. You folks do a lot of, do good work on your stores, and it's very functional. I've been to several of them, they're very functional, and they look good. They meet all the current requirements, and I like nothing better than to have gasoline underground in safe, well-contained, because I don't want it going down the river. Because it goes into the Nemasket, and then he gets really nasty, and we don't like that. So, we want to protect the Nemasket at all, and it all goes back to the Nemasket from there, so we got to really watch that. So I hope we can work this out. That'll be great.
We need a 24-hour gas station. We really do.
Motion?
Any other comments or questions? I'd entertain a motion to continue to June 2nd at 8 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Do I have to close the hearing and then make that motion?
No, that's,
No, you
All right.
continue.
So continue. All right.
Is there anybody that wants to talk about the West Grove Street location? We had mentioned we were going to have public comment, if there was any public comment to be had. I guess there's nobody that wants to be talking about it,
All right.
so.
Charlie, did you have a town manager's report?
Not tonight.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Well, you didn't do anything all week? Well, there you go, we just increased our salaries.
I have a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, folks.